And good evening, internet friends. What is up? Welcome to Monday Night Live. I am Steve Leahy. How are you all doing this fine Monday? We have a lot to do. Ooh, friends. What is up? Welcome. There we go. Don't need that. We have a lot to do. I actually have three new 543s for tonight, so we'll show you those. I have a little story to tell you about tonight's project, so we'll get to that. And that's what I got. So first of all, huge thank you last week to the Star Givers, which included Star Givers. That's the Facebook thing, but still, it's what I call you. You guys are stars in my book. Brian Moore, Honey Rivera, and my brother Bob, Sideshow Bob. You guys all gave super thanks last week, and I deeply appreciate it. Again, I say it every week. Thank you to everyone who's even here and commenting and hitting the like button and all that fun stuff and subscribing, because YouTube is going through a weird thing right now too, as I'm reading on a lot of other creators. Fortunately, I'm small, so it doesn't affect me the same way as it's been affecting the bigger creators, but still, your interaction with the page is what causes my page to continue to grow. So I deeply appreciate that. The new items, I put a tag on, I pinned a comment. I still have the Mustang blade painting and the Chevelle convertible painting. Those two are 50% off now. So if you want an amazing deal on one of the open studio paintings, now is the time. Go grab that. Brian Moore, thank you, buddy. See, Brian Moore is awesome. Thank you. And I'll say hello to everyone too as we go. Like Brian Moore and Paula Davis and Dan Mayer. Hello, everyone. Ian Hart, hello. Ian, I just saw your comment. Ian, did they charge you duties and taxes? Let me know, because there was question on my end as they were filling all that out, and I want to know what to tell my wonderful international friends as I'm sending these things out. James Cully and Chris Garcia, hello. Mr. Capuroso, how you doing? Yay, Capuroso. Sorry, Wayne. I don't know why I keep doing that. I keep doing Capuroso, and it's not. Hello, Wayne, and hello to your lovely wife. So that's it. So let's get going. Let's look at the three new ones. I was going to say five new ones, I wish, but we'll look at the three new ones and we'll get rolling. So we'll go over to here first, I think. And I said hello, 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 everyone. Yeah, so again, real quick, the two paintings that are up right now that you need to go get. Number one is the Chevelle painting. This is this 4x6? Yeah, I think this is 4x6. Yeah, it is. No, 5x7. So 5x7 for this guy. It's on ampersand panel. It's got a painted silver backdrop, relief on it. It's a hardwood frame, maple, poplar. It's hardwood. Anyway, but it's painted, so that I can't tell. But anyway, it's hardwood. So we got this guy going, and again, half off. And you also get to watch this entire process of me painting this on the open studio. So it's a twofer. And then, of course, the Shelby blade painting is also there. Dig that out real quick. That's this guy, which also has a hardwood frame, carbon fiber background, razor blade painting, so UV glass. And it is actual carbon fiber. That's the same sheet that's on both sides. So it's all one piece. So anyway, so that's those two. So again, if you want a crazy deal, now's the time. I want those to go to someone special. Okay, here we go. So I got here. Yay, you guys saying hello. All right, let's do it. Three paintings. Haha. This week was what could go wrong. It's been super busy. I have a lot to do. It's crazy. But I managed to get these done, and even though things went sideways with these as well. So the first one is from our great friend Patty. Oh wait, no, they charge. There's no charge, but they deliver. They gave me. Oh, cool. I love it. Like crazy Eddie prices. That's it, Chris. Everything must go. Yeah, actually, I have two weddings coming up in the next 60 days. So, yeah, whatever you guys can do would help tremendously. There's two weddings and a pile of bills. So we love it when you guys buy art because everyone wins. So our lovely friend Patty C last week asked for cats in a yin and yang position. I saw this and I loved the idea. So here's what I came up with. Now, I'm going to tell you that this was the Time-Lapse Tuesday for this week, but someone, meaning me, forgot to press the record button and actually press the go live button. And what happens on my switcher, when you press go live and you're not on YouTube, it doesn't go live. It doesn't go anywhere. So I filmed this whole thing, I thought, but I didn't. So sadly enough, this is not the time-lapse one. But this is yin and yang. So yin and yang originates in ancient China, of course. The idea is that two complementary opposites create balance, and it's one of the integral ideas to Taoism. The black shape represents the yin, and the white shape represents the yang. So what better way to do that with tiny kitties? And see if we can focus this one in. I had a good time with this one. This is a bunch of scratching, bunch of paintbrush work. There is all kinds of texture on the black cat too, but it's tougher to see. But anyway, there you go. And this one, oh, there we go. And this one's just called yin and yang. So if I had two cats, one was black and one was white, I would name them yin and yang. And that's where that came from. All right, great. What could go wrong? Brian, hold my beer. There's Abby. Yeah, Abby, you're the next story, so we'll get there. All right, next up is your friend and mine, and I just saw him jump on, Mr. Kyle Shees. Kyle's been asking for this one forever, so I thought I'd oblige. Kyle's been asking for an AR-15 ejecting a shell. That's what I got. I'll do a close-up of this one because it's a little bit confusing unless you can see it. Put some light on that. But there he is. So the AR-15 is an interesting gun. The AR-15 was originally designed by the Armalite company, and then they sold the rights to it to Colt. Originally, the military rejected the AR-15 in favor of the the one we know, the M14 rifle. In 1970, excuse me, as I die. In 1977. The copyright for the AR-15 expired, and all of a sudden a bunch of firearm companies started producing versions of this rifle. From 1994 to 2004, however, the federal assault weapons ban restricted the sale of this weapon. And then what's interesting, in 2010, the AR-15 was stated to be one of the most beloved and vilified rifles. So that's my dude taking a shot with his AR-15 and popping off a shell. So there you go, Kyle. I got it done for you, finally. All right. So that one I just called AR-15 because I ran out of titles because I'm trying to crank and get these done. This is way more than a 534 too. I spent too much time on that, but that's okay. All right. Oh, finally, last but not least, is your Time-Lapse Tuesday video for this week. And I just got it on YouTube. Ah, Enzo, what's up, buddy? Yes, the Lombardi Trophy. Love it. AK-47, also a very cool weapon. Michael Stevenson, what is up, Mike? Next is Dan Mayer asked for this. I love these cars, so I had to do it. Dan Mayer asked for a Boss 302 Mustang, and that is it. So that is the car. I learned to drive with my uncle in a 69 Mustang. So this one, it wasn't a 302, but it was still a really, it was close to this one. The difference is the Boss 302 Mustang was built around the motor, the Boss 302. It was produced only in 2 years. Well, 4 years really, 1969 to 1970, and then Ford produced a Boss Mustang in 2012 and 2013. The entire car was built around the 302 motor, and it was styled by Larry Shindoa. The suggested retail price of the Boss 302 in 1970 was $3,700, and just over 7,000 of them were made. The 302 could reach 0 to 60 in just about 7 seconds and covered the quarter mile in 14.5 seconds. It was a fun car, no doubt. And that one's just called Boss. So there are your three. So if you win tonight, you can choose one of these. The nice thing about it is I know I have all three of them, unlike what Abby just went through. So if you win tonight, if you're one of the 3 people on the list, there's only 3 people on the win list tonight. So if you win tonight, you can choose one of these, or you can choose one on the website, and hopefully I have it. All right, so there we go. So let's get to tonight's project. which will be lovely. Dan, you're there. Yay. Bill Snagan, what's up, my friend? Yay. And then I see, obviously, Younger She's is on. She's the Younger is on. Gary is usually on, too. I did notice that Gary is selling his 2008 Harley. That kills me with, as I said, 2 weddings and a pile of bills. Because had I had the money that he's asking for his beautiful bike, I would drive to Pennsylvania and buy it. So if you are looking for an exceptionally clean 2008 Harley, check out Gary Shee's Facebook page. It's a couple of posts back now, but he is selling his bike, and I'm sure, knowing Gary, that it is in absolutely mint condition. And I'm sure Kyle can attest to that until Gary shows up. Gary can let us know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already gone. So, but if it isn't and you're looking for a killer bike, and again, unless all my paintings sell, then I'll be going to buy it, but someone should get it. All right, let's do it. So the story goes, our new friend Abby won last week, and Abby did everything right. Abby sent me a message and said, hey, I would like the painting called Radial, which was the old F4U Corsair, and it was a close-up and radial engine and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I think that someone already grabbed that. I looked, and it was true. Someone already grabbed it. I'll jump back to this one real quick. So what happens is I've been a lazy oaf, and when you guys win and then pick a painting off the site, I sometimes don't take it off the website. So when someone else comes along and says, I would like that painting, it says it's there and it's not. So that's happened to a few of you, unfortunately, and mostly everyone or all of you have been fantastic in picking a new painting. So then Abby was great, said, no problem, I'll pick another one, went and picked another one, and it wasn't there either. So at that point, I'm like, no way. So I didn't even email her back. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do something special for you. So that's what tonight's project is. We're going to paint a version of that painting for her tonight. Let's go back to this one. Brian, I know Brian. It's only 3. There we go. And the bike's still available. All right, Gary. So tell all your rich friends, Gary, to go to my site and buy all my paintings, and then I will come and buy your bike. But with all the weddings, the 2 weddings coming up, if I buy the bike, I will be disowned by my family and friends. But if all my paintings sell, then that's different. All right. So anyway, so Abby asked for the painting called Relic, and I think I did Relic live. I have a feeling I did. Anyway, it was a bull's skull on a worn red barn. So whenever this happens, whenever I have to redo a painting, I try to make it different, either totally different or, I change something in it. So this one, I ended up changing a few things, and what I decided to do was make the skull chrome. So in order to do that, what we're going to use is this liquid chrome by Molotow. And I showed this a little bit on the airbrush holder. This stuff is amazing. This is the refill. It usually is used in pens. And it's just, when you put it on, it looks like chrome. It's crazy. So you can airbrush with it. I'm going to explain that in a little bit. What else? I'm just checking the thing. Mark, what's up, buddy? All right. And JC, I said hello. What's up going on, JC? Bobby, what's happening, brother? All right, so anyway, so this is going to start life as a 543. So that's Yupo paper. And then what I did was, I'll give you the process now. I primed it with Autoborn Sealer Gray, and then I sprayed it with white. So you'll see why in a second. And then the bull, the skull, and the horns, I sprayed with the Molotow. And I just cut out a paper mask like this. And I just put it on, put a bunch of magnets on it. And then what I'll do is I'll explain how I sprayed it, but we're not going to spray it. And the only reason we're not going to spray it is because I wanted to give this 24 hours to cure. because it's alcohol based. It dries pretty fast, but I'm going to be putting stuff on top of this, and I didn't want to run the risk of scuffing up that chrome, because once it's on there, like I said, it is super, super metallic. It is crazy cool. So this is going to be the base of it. And then what we're going to do is I want to make it look like chrome, so we're going to add some color to it with some Candy 2.0, and the candy will allow the chrome to go through it. And we're going to use some scratching techniques on the back, and it'll be fun. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let's do it. I know. Shut up and do it. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right. So my patented it's not really patented, it's just a piece of steel with a magnet on the back. My 543 holder. What we're going to do is we're going to do the background first, and then we're going to do the skull. I should be able to finish this tonight, which will be fun. I have the big camera hooked up too, so we're going to use that as well so you can get right in tight. But as we get started on this, we'll just kind of go this way. And I'm going to show you a couple different techniques. I'm going to use mostly paintbrush on this, but there is a way to do this also with scratching too. So we'll show you that. What I have to tell you about Molotow though, when you're spraying it. So what you want to do when you spray this, hold on, move this up a little bit, switch to this one, get you guys a little closer. Yeah, you'll be able to see the chrome now really well. So yeah, it is very, very reflective. Like if you do it right, it's almost mirror-like, which is cool. So like I said, what I did was I just put this where I wanted it and then put a bunch of magnets around it, and that was it. I didn't have to use adhesive mask or anything. So what you want to do with this stuff though is when you spray it, and like I said, you can see it in my reflection of my finger in there. It's crazy. It has to be wet, like a wet to wet, not wet to wet, but when you spray a pass, the next pass has to be equally as wet. And you want it not to the point that it's going to flood, but you don't want to put it on dry either. So it takes a little bit of practice to get used to it. I used an Eclipse CS just out of the box, so it's a 0.35, because this stuff has a metallic, obviously metallic pigment to it, but it's ground super fine. So it'll go through a brush like this, a 3.5, and it still has control. So you want to put it on wet-ish, but you don't want to flood it, because then it'll go under the mask and make a mess. And you don't want to go on too dry, because if it goes on too dry, it won't give you that reflective quality. It just stays like aluminum looking, like brushed aluminum, which is fine if that's the look you're looking for. But if you want this reflectiveness, it has to be wet so the droplets kind of connect to one another as it's curing, as it's drying. So I put about 3 coats on it to get it to this point, and then I just left it alone for 24 hours. I'm still going to be super careful with it, and I'm not going to put UVLS on it when I'm done. If you spray this with UVLS, it looks like brushed aluminum again. It dulls it all out. So, all right, so that's the rundown. That's all the technical stuff. So I got that on there. That's on there. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put the board lines on it. And for those, I'll scratch them out. And this is kind of a neat trick. You can turn your UPO or whatever you're working on into kind of like scratch board by doing what I did. So I have the dark, no, not dark, but I have the gray background underneath, and then I sprayed this with white. So as I scratch this, it's going to expose the gray. Now I could certainly just, use a paintbrush and paint gray lines in too. So I'm going to use a ruler to make sure I get this straight-ish. Again, they're barn board, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but you just drag the knife along the ruler gently. You don't have to dig in. And it digs down to the gray and gives you a little gray line. See that? So that's super thin, which isn't really what I want. So I'm going to thicken it up a little bit now that I have the gray line in there. Now I know where I'm going. So I can kind of thicken it up and roughen it up a little bit to kind of give it more of that, seamed barn board look. But I'm still just scratching away the white paint to expose the gray underneath. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this technique a little bit to kind of show you the grain in the wood as well. But once we get rolling to speed it up, I do much faster work with a paintbrush, so we're going to swap out to the paintbrush. But this is just going to show you that you can kind of come up with this really cool scratchboard technique just by using paint. Did you remove? Yeah, great question, Chris. Yes. As soon as I sprayed this, while it was still, as soon as I was done spraying the last coat, I removed the magnets and then I carefully peeled this away just to give the edge a chance to kind of, relax. And there was no overspray or underspray. It was as clean as this. I could have put a little bit more on the tips of the horns, but I ended up not because they're going to be kind of black, candied out. So who else did I miss? Anyone else in? No, good. I mean, not good. I'm glad you're all here. All right, so we'll do the same thing again. We'll put another barn board in. Let's put this one about here. Keeping an eye on the last one so they are roughly parallel. There we go. Same deal. So I've got the line in there now. Now I can just kind of lightly goof with it and spread it out in spots. Now this is a really light touch. There's about 3 or 4 coats of gray on here. So it would take a lot for me to dig down through the gray back to the white of the UPO, but I could do it. If you push real hard, you can go through everything. So you just got to kind of be gentle with it. Let the knife blade do its thing. And we'll pull some of them out, but any of your scratchboard tools that you may own, or if you'd like to go pick some up, all your scratchboard tools will work on this. It's a little bit harder. The white is a little bit harder surface to scratch away than, say, traditional scratchboard material. That seems to be a little bit more clay-like and it comes off a little bit easier. But this, in essence, gives you more control too, because you don't immediately scratch them off. What else we got? No, you guys are good. These are a little bit closer than I had intended, but oh well. So what we're going to do, now that I've got this started, I'm going to give myself some tick marks so I know what I'm up against here. Of course, if I don't finish this, oh, that actually worked out scary well. Huh. For not measuring it, that's pretty damn cool. If I don't finish it tonight, obviously I'll finish it. And Abby, you're here. If you do not want this, don't feel like you have to take it. Because again, this is your second choice. If you have something on the website right now that appeals to you more than this one, that's fine. This will just go up on the site. So again, don't feel pressured to take it. It's totally up to you. You obviously get first refusal of this piece. All right, there's cording, like wrapping on the horns right here, so I don't have to run the line all the way through. Yeah, Chris, you can. Yeah, absolutely the same way. Yeah, in fact, well, the thing is I think that a lot of the clayboard tools, let me see if I can find one here. I mean, there are probably some really good clayboard tools. This is not one of them. I don't know, I kind of feel these are like bulky and weird. Now, I mean, to an actual clayboard artist, I am fading out here. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm not going straight at all. So this doesn't seem to bite like the others do. All right, I totally screwed that up. What could go wrong? So what happened was I should have measured it because I've gone kind of at an angle there. So I'm gonna stop that right now because it's easy to fix if I don't go forward. No, you know what? I know what I'll do. I know what I'll do. I will do the rest of them straight and then I'll fix the other ones later. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I'm at a right angle here to here, and I'll show you how far off I am because I wasn't paying attention because I was talking. But that's okay. Like I said, it's an easy fix at this point because all I do, there we go. All I'm going to do is just spray over these 3 lines with white. Get rid of them. Not the tools, I'm at the actual board. Wait, what? Use the same technique on, oh yeah, you could use the same technique on clayboard. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, you could. The trick is most clay boards though. Well, I don't know this for a fact because I don't do clay board at all. I mean, scratch board. Most scratch boards, I believe, are, you know, black with white. But I'm sure you can get different colors. You know, different whatevers. And I know people make their own too. So, yeah, I'm sure you could, you know, come up with something. Patty C. What is up, Patty? Patty, I did your yin and yang cats. All right, so you can see how off I was on these three. But that's okay, because I can fix that. And I will give you the preview on how I'm going to fix that too. Because I can't just spray over it. Because there's actually a divot here. You know, I went through the paint. So if I just spray over it, you'll see the halo of the line. So I got to get rid of that first. So I'll give you the prep on how I'm going to fix it, but then I'll just explain how I'm going to fix it after. Because again, it's kind of boring and it's not going to make any difference. We get these other two in and I'll show you how I'm going to fix those other two boards. Now, if you don't want to do the knife trick, I'll show you in the last one. You could just draw in the line too. And use your ruler like a ruler. Careful as I get close to the chrome. There's going to be a little bit of a shadow underneath that, so don't have to worry too much about that. And the last one, if I don't want to do the knife trick, Rio, what's up? So I can just use the ruler like a ruler, draw the line in, and then scratch it away. Or, as you can see, the pencil line looks pretty much like the gray line underneath. You just leave the pencil line, or use a paintbrush and paint them in. So there's lots of options. All right, so to fix these other ones real quick. So these have dimensions. This first one's not bad. It's really just the two here. So that's probably what I'll do. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take some sandpaper here. And I have 600 grit here, which is what I usually use to sand all this off. Or sand the paper. What I want to be super careful of course, is not getting anywhere near the chrome. So I'm just going to lightly go over these lines. And what that does is kind of takes the curse off them. And then same thing up here. These I went at kind of a shallow angle with the knife, like the broad side of the knife. So they're not super deep, which is good. And I'm just going to take some Scotch-Brite pad, really worn Scotch-Brite, wrap it around my finger, and then just kind of go over it. And this just makes sure that that is pretty smooth. There we go. Now all I got to do is spray over the, I'll mask off this with a piece of paper, the bowl, or even a, you know, like a freehand shield, like this. And then just spray white over it and then just re-scratch them. That's as easy as it is. So, okay. So we're going to keep rolling though to kind of conserve time here. All right, so the grain in the wood is next. Again, you know, I can do this with the same scratching technique to get those little grains in there. Again, I work faster with a paintbrush, so that's what we're gonna do. We'll do the grain with the paintbrush, which is how I did it on the other one as well. Let's turn this on, which is, let's turn this on. There we go. So black and white here, which is good because we need a gray. Light gray. Got my glove here. Oops, what am I doing? There we go. Anyone that buys the bike will get a free 543 of their choice. That's awesome, Gary. What if I buy it, though? I get to get one of them back. That's fun. All right. So that's too dark. Yeah, actually, just seeing Gary's artwork would be worth buying the bike. He's got some crazy stuff. I usually start with the knots because it sets up the grain for the rest of the piece. And then from there, all the grain kind of follows the knot, which is fun. And then all you got to do is just grab some photographs of wood, and you'll pick it up really fast. And this, like I said, this is exactly how I did the other one. The only difference is I added red in the other one, like worn paint. But this one, the color part of it, the color part of the show is going to be the chrome and all the candy on that. I'll do a few of these boards. We'll see how fast we can get them done. And then what we'll do is, if I can get all the boards done, that'd be fantastic. And if not, I'll break from doing the board so I can work more on the skull. But you see, it does go pretty quick. There are all kinds of great brushes for doing wood grain. And if you look at guys like Steve Chizeka, they are masters. The gentleman that bought the Manhattan painting from me, who owns the Manhattan painting, not the blade painting, but the other one, the bigger one. His company, Everett Nautical, specializes in doing wood grain on these super expensive yachts. And he's another guy. You watch his work and it's just insane. You can't tell. Once it's cleared, you can't tell that it's not actual wood. Oh, I get $500 off. Thanks, Gary. Nice. Nah, that's a steal, brother, man. That's, like I said, I'm surprised it's still there. It's funny because I haven't ridden in a long time. 2005, I think, was the last time. And yet moving out here to Ohio, there's a strong community, rider community. And it has refired that itch. So sooner or later, I'll figure it out. All right, so this one doesn't have any knots in it. Just to kind of break it up, make it look different. The next one will have let's put a more solid knot in this one. Let's put the knot up here. So this one is kind of a gnarly knot. And then the wood's going to kind of go around it. Again, just avoid the skull. And I'm even going to try to avoid putting my fingers on it. The paint is pretty tough, but again, I don't want to have to fix it. I've had enough with what could go wrong this week. So we're not going to mess with it. And again, by not taking chances with it, I'm going to put another knot down here, I think. By not taking chances with it, I just kind of guarantee, it's cheap insurance. I don't have to worry about having to make, changes or fixes on things that shouldn't be fixed. There we go. Hey, Michael, what's up? Simon wears a hell of a technique on airbrush wood grain. That's awesome too, Chris. Yeah. Keep forgetting about Burger Boy. Love that guy. I am so happy. Chris was there. That weekend was amazing. I was heading home to my family in Massachusetts, and the timing worked out that Simon was giving his class at Createx. So I had not met him yet, and it was just amazing. Just the timing was perfect, And to hang out with him and interrupt his class was so much fun. All right, so I'm down to the end here before I get to the one I screwed up. So that's where we're going to leave it. So this is good. We'll actually get some time in on the skull. You may ask, could I have just taken white paint and kind of painted in over those lines and erase them? You'd still see them. The way to do it is going to be to spray over them. It's more dangerous because I got to avoid the skull. There's a chance that I'll get white overspray on the skull, which sucks. But I mean, if that happens, I just reverse the process. I'll go back to the template that I had, which is somewhere around here, and I'll just respray another coat on the skull. And as long as, again, if I keep it that medium wet coat, then it's going to just relight up. It's just going to be chrome again. So it's pretty cool that way. Chris and I did. Yo, there you go. That's awesome, Ian. Yeah, he is something else. And gosh, he has been around for so long, especially with Createx. He had videos. There's my template. He's had videos with Createx for forever. So yeah, I love it. I love him. It was just, like I said, it was just really, really cool for me to finally get to meet him. All right, so what I did was I just went online and looked up chrome skull, and I came up with this one. It's not the right angle, it's not the right anything, but it gives me a good reference for some of the colors that I want to put in this. This would be fine. I could put black on this and call it a day, but I want to add a little bit to it, again, to make it a little bit more special, and that's why I have the color reference here. I have Photoshop. I love Photoshop. I use it all the time. They have an AI generator type thing. Like most AI, it sucks. I typed in chrome skull, and if I showed you the results, it is the true AI slop that you see everywhere. It was terrible. So it's still, for me, it's still better to go get an actual photograph, that someone took and kind of, get the inspiration from that. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm going to use the same template that I used to spray in the chrome to do the candy parts of it. The candy parts are first, then the details. Again, candies are 100% transparent. So anything you put on here, the next layer is going to build on that, and so on. So you don't have to. You do have to think of like your method of attack, but it's going to be the same no matter what, because again, everything's transparent. So no matter what you do, no matter what order I could put the details on first and then do the color, and it's going to look exactly the same as the method I'm about to use, which is put the color on first and then the details. Because I'm going to use black candy for the details as well, because I really want the chrome to show through as much as possible. All right. I did 2 here. Createx got to, yeah, that was fun, Chris. I'm glad that worked out, that you were there. That was fun. Okay. So again, I don't need, I want magnets all over this, but all right. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat this like the traditional t-shirt chrome, which is what you see here too. You get the sky on the top, then the sunset, and then the horizon. And that's what gives you this chrome look. This piece of printout is obviously not metallic, but it looks like chrome, right? So we're going to take some of these elements and attach them to this actual chrome. This won't look like, this if I bring it outside, even in sunset, because you'll see it totally different because it's two-dimensional, right? It's flat. So we're going to kind of imply a lot of this. So first thing I'm going to need is I think an orange. I was going to use a tequila yellow. Maybe I will use yellow. Why not? So this is tequila yellow. This is Candy 2.0, and this is how you get it. It's a dye-based paint, so it's different than the Wicked colors or the illustration colors, which are pigment-based. These are 100% transparent. They also have no binder to them. So you can spray them right out of the bottle, but you will be able to just wipe them off with your hand. You don't want that. They also spray terrible when you spray them right out of the bottle, sort of, kind of. So you need to mix this with something to get it to work. And the thing you mix it with is your favorite and mine, UVLS gloss, so the 4050. That's your stuff. So you mix this with this. This makes this stuff stick and hold up and spray really nice, and then you're off to the races. So it's pretty straight ahead. So yeah, let's use tequila yellow to kind of get this sunset thing going. And I'm sure you get one more magnet on there. Brian, don't tempt me. All right, you got it, Brian. There you go. One more magnet right there. Wise ass. Now I do have a lot of 40-50 already mixed up with reducer. Generally speaking, though, the way this works is you just add the 40-50 to it, and because this is so thin, it thins it out. But I have a little bit of reducer in there too, just to kind of help things along. Again, I use it kind of differently than if you're like if I wanted this to be tequila yellow, like all yellow, just yellow chrome, I would follow the directions on this, meaning I would add 40-50 to it and then just put maybe a touch of reducer to get it through a small airbrush. And in the spray gun, you wouldn't need any reducer at all. But because it's so small and I'm using real light layers of it, I'm going to add a little bit of reducer to it to help it go through. And I'm going to use that Eclipse because Eclipse does a real good job with this stuff. That's what I'm going to do. So yellow first, huh? Yellow in the center. And again, this is so less is more, You'll see what I mean. If I go and spray this whole thing with all these colors, it's going to look like a freak show, and we don't want that. So I've got some 40-50 in there with the reducer, and I'm just going to add a couple 3 drops of tequila yellow. This is, again, it's dye based, so it's not like paint where, you add 3 drops and it's not enough. This stuff is extremely potent. So 1 drop probably would have done it, but this I want to hit it kind of strong. I want to get it done. So that's tequila yellow. It's a beautiful color. It's kind of a golden yellow color. And then we're going to kind of pick our spots here. So again, I want kind of sunsetty. So I'm going to hit kind of near the middle of this. Nice and slow. And then for the skull part, I'm going to run right across the main part of his, kind of the back of his head here, and then move towards his forehead. And then a little bit on his cheeks too. So they'll pick up the excess there. And again on the other side of the skull here, or the horn. Again, I don't want to overdo this. I want to make sure I'm kind of keeping everything kind of subtle, like that. Now that looks really goofy right now, but as I turn this, if I can pick this up because it's got so many magnets on it, the haziness kind of goes away on that, which is pretty damn cool. Are we buffering? Yeah, we are. Hopefully that should clear up. That happened the other day too, Thursday. Let me, hopefully that should clear up. It did clear up last time. It usually reaches a peak and then it just settles out. So if you're buffering, hang on. It did get better. I'm watching it come down right now. So yeah. Yep, it's coming down. So I don't know why, but the cache gets filled and then it buffers. So yep, it's coming down. So you should start to clear up. All right. Blue is next. Same deal. Again, I don't want to go nuts with this. Want to clear out this. Yep, all the buffering should be gone now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging on. All right, so clear out the yellow, and then we're going to use, what do I want to use? Carib Blue. Yep, we should be good with the buffering now, yes? Yeah, it's clear on my side. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. It's not like Facebook. Like Facebook would just lock up and then that would be it. Same deal here. This is Carib Blue. Yeah, Yeah, Facebook, once it started, it just wouldn't stop. This, it just does it for a minute and then it clears itself and then it's all right. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, we're still good. I'll keep an eye on it. So this is Caribe Blue, which is lovely. Now this candy is still water-based, which is great. So you can spray this. I mean, you should use caution, you know, like with anything you spray. You don't want to be, you know, breathing this stuff in, but it's not like automotive candies, which are solvent-based. I'm going to turn this off for now because we don't need it yet. Gold leaf one. No, Michael, this is a brand new one. So yeah, I've done the gold leaf one, I've done the barn board one, and now this is the chrome one. So all three are different. All right, so for the blue, I'm going to do the sky at the top. And again, I don't want to go nuts with this. I just kind of want to give it that indication. Yeah. And then a little bit on the bridge of the nose. Give a little something there. All right, good. So that's that. So now let's get the black details in and then we can start messing with it. Clear this brush out because I don't need this one. It's just super thick. Yeah, it is drying out. I don't know why, but it's going to work for now. Oh, this is like a super deep blue. Okay, it'll work. So this I want to do on the ends of the horn, just to kind of buffering here again. It's doing it again. Come on, man. Come back to me. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep working like it's going to fix itself, and then we'll go from there. All right, it's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back. All right, that didn't give me what I wanted anyway. So that worked out good that it buffered through all that. The candy black was a little bit too blue. So we're just going to go with black. You guys should be coming back now. Welcome back, everyone, as we unbuffer. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's doing it. It should be fine now, right? Don't know why it's doing it. Don't know why. I love you like I do. All right, let's get this stuff in. So I'm going to use, this is Wicked Black now, because the blue, the candy black was like too blue. It wasn't really what I was working on. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why it's randomly gumming up, but at least it's coming back. So anyway, what you missed was nothing. I used the candy black and it was a little bit too blue, so I switched back to Wicked Black for the ends of the horns here. Woohoo, we are back. Yeah, we're good. I don't know what's going on. There's that new protocol that I got to figure out how I can use, which will help with that particular problem. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this mask and I'm going to jump to the detail mask, which I didn't pre-cut, so you guys get to watch me do that. Oh, one more magnet. That was the Brian Moore magnet right there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. All right. Did I save that little cow dude? That'd be nice. Did I? No? No, I didn't. Oh, that sucks. Oh, well. It's probably somewhere around. I was just looking to see if I have the cow skull somewhere, but I don't think I do. Yeah, Scott might have had something to do with it. All right, so what we're going to do, there's just a few details on here, like the nose and things like that, that I want to get in, and, you know, the placement of some of these cracks. So it's just going to be easier to kind of cut a little template for this. So again, there's been plenty of what could go wrong this week and tonight, so I don't want more of that. So we're going to make sure that we minimize the what could go wrongness. So yeah, so the nose here. Piece like that, one of these. You can't see his eye sockets, which is fine. It's one of those things that you paint what you see. Like you super want to put eyes in this thing, but if you do, it's going to look like trash. Incidentally, speaking of cow skulls, I just rewatched Tombstone last night. As I was going through all the paintings that I had still out on the site, the Val Kilmer Doc Holliday painting was still on the site. It did say out of stock, but it was still on the site. And I'm like, I want to watch Tombstone. So, always a great movie. And I keep forgetting how many, how heavy that movie was with star power. Everyone was in that movie. It's crazy. Like every time, you know, a new scene popped in, it's someone else famous. You're like, oh, wait, what? I didn't know he was in this or she was in this. Yeah, great fun. Great fun. All right, here we go. I'm going to wait on the ties, the cording here. I'll do that with paintbrush. Soapbox idea, proper prep technique or practice. Like how, oops, darkened up. How do you prep, stop it. How do you prep different substrates? Yeah, that's an easy one, Brian. I can kind of do that right now. I prep everything the same way. Everything is Autoborn sealer. Whether it's gray, white, or clear, I just use that. To quote the hot sauce, I put that shit on everything. So yeah, it's just nice because it makes everything the same for me. You know, I have the same feeling when I paint, no matter what I paint on. And I go over that in one of the Tech Tuesdays, which is cool. So I talk a lot about that and, you know, how it really changed everything for me. Like it just levels the playing field for me. Like if I'm painting on canvas or plastic or glass or metal or whatever, doesn't matter. It feels the same to me, which is massive. You know, that was always a big thing growing up in the airbrush world. If you're a t-shirt artist, you know, the t-shirts soak up the paint differently than a motorcycle tank, and you know they're totally different airbrushing techniques. But that Autoborn sealer bridges the gap. Now, you don't use Autoborn sealer on a t-shirt first. That's dumb because then you have a piece of armor instead of a shirt. But that's the extreme. But everything else, like, you know, if I was painting on a piece of paper, I would prep it with Autoborn sealer, you know? All right, I've got black in this now, so I'm going to be real careful with this because these cutouts are really small and they'll be easy to flood out, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to lightly go over this. I cut out a bunch of the cracks too, so that will help me to kind of line them up. What I really should do is use like a thicker black for this. How much black do I have in here? Yeah, let's do that. Again, we're trying to be safe, right? I've been using gesso. Yeah, gesso for canvas, and you can use gesso on paper too, but gesso for canvas has been the way to go since canvas was canvas. So yeah, you can't beat that. The nice thing about gesso in a canvas scenario is gesso goes on a lot thicker than the Autoborn sealer. So you can't just put Audubon sealer on raw canvas, you'll go through gallons of it. So yeah, so it's still a way to do it with canvas and things like that. Plus, you can manipulate gesso so well. You can sand it, you can put it on like with texture, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. With, again, you know, with the Audubon sealer, you can't do that. Like you could put Audubon sealer on with a roller, but it's not going to have the texture of gesso, you know. As we roll through this, if it looks like, you know, I have time, which we're going at a pretty good clip right now. If it looks like I can, you know, take the time and fix this tonight, then we'll do that too. The other cool thing is I just put that black on there. You can't see it unless you get something reflecting through it, which is fun, which is exactly kind of the idea that I wanted for this. And I got a little smudge on the blue candy, which sucks. So we're going to have to do some stuff. On t-shirts, you can use a 4004. There's Scott. Yeah, there you go. So what Scott's, I think he's gonna talk about it in his post. Yeah, there you go, because it glues all the little fuzzies down on the shirt, which is what the transparent base used to do, right, Scott? With the old transparent base from Createx. But again, that also, I mean, am I wrong? Does that give the shirt kind of a more plastic feel? You know, like a more stiff feel? Which, if you're doing work like Terry Hill, you know, or Steve Driscoll, where they were doing these works of art on t-shirts, you need that real smoothness, you know. So you almost sacrifice its wearability or its comfort in wearability for the beauty of the artwork. So heat set, yeah, there you go. All right, so I've got, I'll turn that back on. So I just grabbed black. I may change the camera angle. You guys can see that the damage on the top of that pretty well. It's not gonna, I'm gonna take care of that because it's not as major as it looks to you guys. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I was afraid of with the chrome. That's why I wanted to let the chrome sit for 24 hours because I didn't want any scars on the chrome from putting a magnet on it or scuffing it or anything like that, which could easily happen, you know, if it's not dry, because I've done it. You know, I've taken this stuff and I've touched it too soon. This stuff too, word of caution, like I painted this on Yupo, which is flexible, right? If it's not dry and you roll it, it'll immediately lose its chrome look. It'll go all, you know, like brushed aluminum, because you break the binds of whatever's making it look like super chrome. There you go. See, that's what happens when you have someone who knows what they're talking about here. Welcome, Mr. McKay. This stuff is like painting on glass or painting on leaf. So the trick for painting on a hyper smooth surface like this chrome is to just be patient. You have to let the paint come off the brush. So the strokes, like all these lines, let me get you guys closer. The strokes of these lines are much slower because I'm letting the paint come off the brush. If I just try to draw like a quick line with the paintbrush, it's gonna just skip. You know, it's not gonna pull off the brush. I'm gonna get you guys closer because it'll be more fun. What time is it? What time is it? It's 7 o'clock. It's time to give away painting too. So let's do that too, and then we'll jump back on this. There we go. So here's what you're gonna see when I get you back. This is what you're gonna see when I get you back. And again, you know, you will see more of it if there was a white thing on the other side, but you'll get the idea. All right. Square Body Chevy, I love that. Mr. Robert O'Malley. All right, well, I can leave everything here because it's safe. But we're going to give away a painting. Let's give away a painting. Why don't we give away a painting? What do I do with them? Can't give one away unless I can show them to you. All right. Tonight we have Dan Mayer's Boss 302. Boss 302, which is also the time lapse for this week. Next we have Mr. She's the Younger asked for a AR-15 shell being ejected from the rifle, and that's AR-15. And last but not least, the very lovely Patty C asked for Yin and Yang cats, and that's what I got. So this one is your, no, it's not your time lapse. It should have been, but you know, what could go wrong? Yeah, exactly, Michael. And Michael's doing a project right now that I do not envy him at all. He's painting on glass, and that is a beast of a different color, doing that. Painting on gold leaf or glass, it's just a weirdness, but we'll get back to that. All right, so tonight's big three, Brian Moore, Todd Grisby, and Kayla Zalonka is back on there. Kayla made a couple suggestions along the way, but Kayla dropped one in last week, so went from 2 regulars to 3. So let's jump to MrRandom.org. There's our 3. Oh, Brian, is this week the week? Kayla won. Holy crap, Brian. Kayla, congratulations, Kayla. All right, Brian, sooner or later, man, we have, what, September, we have October, November, December. We have tons of time. Congratulations, Kayla. You won. So, Kayla, I didn't see you here, but Brian, you're going to win, Brian. You're going to win, Brian. Congratulations, Kayla. Brian, snatched from the jaws of victory. Brian. Todd's in there too, but Rhea already won one, so that's close, but Todd will get one too. All right, can you guys see that? I know, like I said, it's better when you have a little bit of a reflection on that, but I think you can, well, you can't really see that, can you? Let me do some tricks to see if I can get that to work for you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of white paper here. Look at that. And then I'm going to get Mr. Magnet. Put Mr. Magnet here, and that's going to make it difficult for me to see what I'm doing, but yeah, what I did was I put a little piece of paper here and I put a big magnet there, so now you get the white reflection off of that. That should give us, yeah, you guys should be able to see what's going on now. Oops, there we go. So Kayla, if you are here, congratulations. You can choose one of those 3. You can't choose this one. Unless, of course, Abby decides that Abby wants another one, a different one, then you can choose this one. But so far, I think Abby's on board with this one. So we're going to hold this one for Abby. And then, but you can go on the website, you can choose one, and you can hope that I have it, that I haven't given it away. There are no promises. Oh, yeah, Ian does. Ian knows. And what's funny is there is a track record for winners winning late in the season and then winning early the next season. Paula Davis, I think, is an example of that. I think Paula Davis won near the end of last year, and then she was one of the first ones to win this year. So that takes you out of the running for the entire year, it feels like. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both, I guess. Todd, thank you. All right, so again, I just got to take this slow. The problem is, of course, the paintbrush, wants to dry out. So there's a lot of rinsing the brush, and then I'll turn this back on. Rinsing the brush and then repaleting with new paint. So there's a lot of that with this because, again, you can't have it both ways. You got to go slow, and then that lets the paint dry in the brush, and then you end up having a problem with that. Sometimes like this, it resists the paint as well, so you got to kind of take it as it goes. Now, the way I get around this, or, kind of solve this with gold leaf, is I will clear the gold leaf. So again, it's not the right way to do it because it makes the gold leaf look dull. But once you put the UVLS satin on it, then you can just go to town. You can just paint on it and it paints like regular. Again, it's what we were just talking about. It gives you that sense of, not sense, but it's actually real. But it makes it feel like, everything else you paint on. All right, so let's get the cordage here. So there are 3 cords that wrap around. You can't yell at me. If you can't see what's going on, yell at me. There we go. This I don't need the paper for because you're going to see what's going on here. So there's 3 cords that wrap around, or 3-ish cords that wrap around. So we're just going to kind of paint them in. Again, the idea behind a 543 is that I can get them done within 2 hours and then everyone wins. So again, this one, even though we're goofing around with it and I started it yesterday, we're pretty much on track. If I didn't have to, if I wasn't explaining what was going on, I could get this done much quicker. Again, that's not the point right now. There's Abby. Definitely want this one, assuming it's still available. Yeah. Oh, Abby, I deserve that. Yes, this one is yours. This one is absolutely yours. And regardless of what happens tonight, I will finish it, give you a little bit extra on it, and I will ship it out. I have your info, so that's perfect. And Kayla, if you are watching this after the fact, or if you notice tomorrow that you won, you can send me a private message. Just go to the website and send me a note. It's the best way to do it because you'll make sure it goes right to me when you do that. So so that's great. And then you can send me your shipping address. And people have asked, it just needs to be your shipping address. So you don't have to, if packages show up better at work for you, you have a shipping and receiving place that will accept personal packages for you, and you don't, that way you don't have to worry about it getting lost or whatever. I mean, I will ship to anywhere you want. So don't feel like, it has to go to any one place. You know what I mean? People have asked, and I'm like, nope, it just needs to be where you want it shipped to. So, and I'm going to airbrush all this too at the end and put a little drop shadow on him and shadow up all these little cords, but it's just getting those in to make them look, like they should. Brian, don't say, or Brian, send me a message, please, of which one you're looking for, because here's the worst case scenario. What happened to Abby happens to you on the one you want. I do not want that to happen. So tell me which one you're looking for in a message. Just send me a message on my site and let me know which one it is you're looking for so I can make sure that I still have it. We don't want any more what could go wrongs. Yeah, no? All right, so this little detail here, this little rope that kind of connects the two, if this was anywhere near this line, I wouldn't have done it because, I got to spray that out. But it's far enough away that it won't make any difference, when I go to spray that line out. Nice. Yeah, do that for me, Brian, just so I can have a little bit of peace of mind and we don't have reoccurring stuff. What I need, an extra 2 days during the week. What I really need to do is be able to go through the site and go through the inventory, go through it all one by one so that I can, check off what I have and what's on the site and all that. But again, with the way things are going right now, which is good, it's crazy, but it just doesn't, it doesn't give me a lot of time for that stuff. All right, so the scar on the top, you can see it clearly now. That's where the where I put the magnet on it before the candy was dry. I'm gonna kind of mask that off with some details. And you guys are looking at it at a pretty stiff angle right now, so you can really see it. But once I get this done, you won't really be able to pick up on that little scar. The reason why I'm doing this and not fixing it is because it's not an easy fix. What I'd have to do, I can't just spray over the candy because the candy that's here will get darker. The scar will also get darker, but they'll get darker they won't ever catch up. You know what I'm saying? The scar will always be lighter, and this will just keep getting darker and darker and darker, so you'll never not see it. The way I would have to fix it is spray over it with chrome first and then respray the candy. And that's all in all, that's a lot of extra stuff that doesn't need to really happen. The other thing I want to do is my reference has these little cool stripes on the horns. I want to put those on too because I like them. And I think we're going to have time to kind of fix this up. So, if you guys want to hang with me for a couple extra minutes, I think I can get this fixed. All right, so from here, though, I want to do a little bit of airbrushing first. Did you figure the point system yet? Yeah, Brian, it's not that I haven't figured it out. It's just, again, it's a timing thing. What I need to do is I need to sit down and go through the entire spreadsheet and correct issues that are going on with it. For instance, this is not, this isn't anyone's fault but my own. The spreadsheet registers every difference as a new person. So if I write, like Honey here is Honey, but on Facebook she was Honey Rivera. So when we started the points, all the spreadsheets have Honey as Honey Rivera. But I also have her in as Honey, which is what she is here. So that registers two different people, which splits up her points. You know what I'm saying? So people like, who else changed? There's a few people that changed between Facebook and YouTube because they have different usernames. I have to go through all of those and compile the points so that they all make sense. So it's, some of it's easy, some of it's not. It's just, again, it's just one of those things that's going to take a little bit of time for me. But each week the data is still being compiled. So it's not like, the effort is wasted. So hang in there for me with that, and I will get that done. Or, what would be lovely is if I could get to the point, again, if, I can get enough work sold that I could hire someone to come in and do that kind of stuff. But right now, there's just not enough stuff selling to be able to warrant that. All right, so again, up top, I'm going to put a little bit of black, and that also helps to get rid of that, to blend in that scar. Yeah, Scott, it's absolutely possible. And again, my eldest son is my spreadsheet master. He's the one that kind of has been, he set up the whole thing, which is beautiful the way it works. But again, it's super sensitive in the way that it compiles data, which is great. But also, we have to deal with, like I said, those anomalies that just kind of need to be worked out. But like I said, the bottom line is you guys have nothing to worry about. All the data is being compiled. Every time you guys make a suggestion, in case you guys don't know, there's a point system that we started just about a year ago. And the idea is that it's going to give people credit for the things they do around here. So when you make a suggestion, you get 2 points. When you make a suggestion 2 weeks in a row, you get another 2 points. If you give stars, or in this case, super thanks, you get another 2 points. So you can get a maximum of 6 points every week. And then as soon as you hit 80 points, you get a 543. So that's how it works. Again, in best case practices, that's how it works, but we're still working out a bunch of the fun stuff. So. Well, that's good too. You guys have got good suggestions. All right, so going to get some shading on these ropes. and then we'll fix the background a little bit, see how long that takes. If it doesn't take too long, I might even be able to pull this off tonight, which will be lovely. Had I not screwed it up, we would definitely have pulled this one off tonight. But, say it with me, what the hell could go wrong? This brush is just the bomb. When this brush is working, yikes. Like, to be able to spray the drop shadow on these little ropes without a mask, it just gives me shivers. All right, so you guys can't see what's going on. I'm going to switch out to this camera because it's going to show you a little bit better. But here is our little chrome skull. Now you can see as I move it around, you can see the flashes of the color. But what it's doing is it's just reflecting, like right now, it's reflecting the black wall behind me. So you can't see anything. But as you rotate it around, you get all this cool stuff going on. So what I'm also going to do, no, I can't do that. I was going to put the shadow on him, but I can't do that till I fix the back. All right, so how do we fix the back? Well, that's a great question. Oh, thanks, Brian. Yeah, joining the channel helps out a lot. The Patreon page is another work in progress. Right now, they have the beginning of their own open studio. You guys know Brad from Tim's feed. He pops in over here every once in a while. So I did a painting for Brad a few years ago, and I recorded all of it. So that's another open studio that Patreon members get. But what I'm going to do for the big plan for Patreon members is every single time lapse I'm going to narrate. So all the ones I've done already, I'm going to narrate for the Patreon members. So not only do you get the video, which is up on YouTube, but you get the video with what I'm doing through the whole thing without commercials. So that's going to be the Patreon thing. The nice thing about Patreon, is they don't take the massive cut that YouTube takes. I deeply appreciate you guys being members here, but YouTube takes half of that. Patreon, it doesn't work that way. So again, any support you guys show is absolutely massive, and I love you guys for it. So, I didn't mean to do that. But just to give you the lay of the land, that's how it all works, you know. Yeah, YouTube gets their cut, and they get, I get a tiny bit of money from the ads that you see. However, it's minuscule, especially for a channel of my size. Even, medium-sized channels, don't really make their money from the ad revenue. That's all YouTube, baby. They get all that. But what Rhea just said, liking and subscribing, that's the free way, and that's gigantic. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of videos from a lot of bigger content creators, and I guess there's some stuff going on right now with the way that YouTube distributes videos, even on the big channels, and it's not... for me, like I said, you guys are floating the boat here. You guys are my audience, and I love you for it. So I don't have, like millions of followers and then, watching that ebb and flow like the big creators. You guys are always here, and I love it. But it's interesting because, you can see how things are flowing, especially in the light of all the AI garbage that's floating around there and how YouTube has to deal with that. So we're going to do... How are we going to do this? So I cut out the bull here, the skull. I'm going to drop this in place. And really all I'm concerned with, obviously, is this side of the skull. I don't have to worry about the other side at all. So I want to make sure as much of that is properly covered. I'm going to lose a little bit of it because I didn't cut it out exactly the same. But in the end of the day, you'll never know. It'll be clean. All right, there we go. So again, the goal is, let me back this out a little bit because this camera's in way too close for this kind of stuff. This will be good though. You'll be able to see how the repair works on it. There we go. Yeah. You see my wonky board? If it was a little bit less wonky, I could get away with saying, Bob the Builder had a bad day. But that's pretty far off. So I don't want that. All right, so I've scuffed this now. I don't want to touch it with my raw finger because I don't want to put any oil on this, but I could just kind of get a feel for it to make sure that I don't have any raised edges there. Now, the trick is I'm afraid that I don't have this at 100% opacity for white. Now, that makes a difference here because I should have had it at opacity because then to do a repair would be super easy. I could just spray it and it'd be done. But I have a feeling I didn't put enough white on this. So that ends up being a problem because to cover these gray lines, I'm going to have to get close to opacity, and then that means this half is going to be brighter than this half. So there are a couple neat things I could do, but I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to try to do this first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the curse off these lines. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of white. Again, this is the thing I said I couldn't do in the beginning because you're going to see it, but you'll get it when I get this going. What could go wrong? I love it. Tombstone, that's great. I should have done this before I put the magnets on, so I'm going to have to do that. There we go. All right, so these lines are roughly straight, so I'm going to use the ruler trick for this so I can kind of just leave the paint where it should be. And this is called taking the curse off, and I don't know if it's really called that, but I always call it that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of white paint in here to kind of catch, oh, there's black in this, to catch it up a little bit. So when I go to spray this, I'm not trying to go from, absolute gray to the white. Because the idea is I just want to kind of get a few passes of the white and have it disappear. That's the goal. So this doesn't have to be perfect. The closer I am to being on the money, the better. But it doesn't have to be 100% on the mark. Again, I'm just trying to, take the curse off. I'm trying to get the gray to calm down a little bit. See, so now that's, not terrible. I could still see it, but that's it. That's it. Oh, James, have a good one, buddy. I call it fixing yes. That's exactly what it is. And again, I talk about this a lot. Yeah, doing this for a while and getting experience means you don't make as many mistakes. But that's really not what comes with experience. Well, the most valuable thing I've gotten with experience is to figure out how to fix mistakes. That's way more common than to be able to pull something off in one shot. I fix more mistakes than anything, and that's what experience gives you. It's having been through those mistakes and being able to say, okay, I've had this happen before. I know how to fix this, and I don't have to start all over again. So experience has given me way more value in that than, just everything works out great. You know what I mean? Yeah, that does happen because, when you start a project that you've done a bunch of times, you already know the pitfalls and you can kind of avoid them. But the value in being able to fix a mistake is way, way higher. It gives you confidence. You know what I mean? If you feel like, you know what, I could try this new technique, and if it screws up, I know I can fix it. I know I can pull back and do what I normally do. Damn, I got another scar on this. See the magnet? That's happening because of the candy. So perfect example, so, I got to find a way to fix that too, which I have a feeling I know what I'm going to do with that. So that's what I got to say about that. Like I said, it's more that, it gives you the confidence to say, oh, okay, no problem. I could try this because I know I could fix it if it goes sideways. Because things always go sideways. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm talking about art, but you guys, this happens in everyone's life, And the more versatile you are and the more level-headed you remain during those times, the better things work out. All right, so see what I mean? So that kind of took, like I said, takes the curse off it. It removes them enough. They're still there. You can still see them, but all right, so the problem with the candy, that's not the chrome doing that, that's the candy. See the halo from the magnet? That's not ideal. I have a plan for that though. Again, because, you know, I've been through stupid stuff like that before. But what I'm not going to do now is I'm not going to put a magnet right on the candy. So I'm going to put a magnet, say, down here. Make sure that's lined up. Oops, it's on a magnet. There we go. Let's get this so you guys can see it. All right, so there's no candy right here on the eye socket, so, or right above the eye socket. So that's where we're going to aim for the magnet. And we'll use a small magnet so we make sure we don't put anything on there. And that's all I'm going to do. That's all the magnets I'm going to do. I'm going to hold everything else down. The painting I did with Sally Field's background turned out all right with the white patch panel wall. Yeah, panel walls are fun. Still trying to make a relevant background to the image. Yeah, I try to make sure that I have a whole idea that way so I don't run into that problem again. You know, that's just from doing it a bunch of times. But if you're trying to decide what the background is after the fact, it can be daunting because it can change what the rest of the painting is. All right, now white. I'm going to grab my brush. Does it have anything in it? No, we're in good shape. All right, so again, I've taken the curse off this, right? Don't forget, this is going to have all kinds of grain in it too, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'll take a little bit of white. I'm going to make sure that horn is held down. I'll use the patented meat skewer hold downer thingy. And then I'm going to really lightly just start going over this. And I'm not going to go beyond the hold down piece. I'm not going to do near the rest of the skull because I'm going to move the hold down piece as I get closer. So now I can move on to the next part here. That looks good. And down here where I sanded a little bit, I'm going to give that a little bit more. Again, I'm super fortunate in this painting because there's so much grain going on here that that all the sins are going to be hidden, you know. There, that looks good. Yeah, I'm going to leave it just like that. Okay, I'll leave the white in that for a second. All right, so now we get to fix the mistakes here. So then I'm going to, you know what, let's fix the skull first, and then I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, that did. All right, so here's how I'm going to fix the skull. So I've got that cool chromy look, but I've got those little scars on there. So here's how we're going to do this. This is kind of a fun cheat. I'm going to clean out the white out of this brush. So I'm going to use this brush because I need a little bit of control. Make sure I get all the white out of this. So what that scar is just, it's the, you know, where the magnet pushed into the candy. So really it's just an impression, you know what I mean? It's not like it rubbed it off or anything. So what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can find it because I don't use this a lot. I don't even know if they still have this available. Scott, if you're here and you know that they do or don't, let me know. But this is UVLS High Gloss. I don't ever know if they came out with this. They were testing it for a while. It's UVLS gloss, but it's got a really, well, duh, it's got a high gloss to it. So this is pre-mixed up already, meaning I've already got, you know, 20% reducer in this. So I'm going to put this in the Eclipse. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over those scars. Let's get this flowing here. Make sure I'm totally free of white paint, which is what I just used in this. So all I'm going to do is start layering it really lightly over the damaged areas. And then kind of let that sit, dry up a little bit. And then hit it again. And it's just, I'm just going over the areas that got kind of that candy damage. And yeah, that didn't really take it out. So, plan B. I was hoping that the gloss would kind of take over that little, you know, the indication where that scar was. So plan B is to add more to the yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the, where is it? Yeah, there it is. This time though, we're going to use Grabber Orange, which is, where's my Grabber Orange? Oh, Dirt Track Brown might work. That might be better. Yeah, I think I might use Dirt Track. Excellent. Yeah, I know we're running long. If you guys got a jet, I super appreciate you hanging around. Anyone who's just hanging around, welcome. You can hang around. So I think I'm going to try to finish this tonight. Abby has waited long enough. Yeah, I'm going to use Dirt Track Brown. It's got a nice, it'll have a nice like sunsetty type of feel. All right, so. Ooh. All right. Shoot. This is a total what could go wrong night. All right. My tablet just died, which is okay because I can check comments over on YouTube. There we go. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right. Let me grab my, where's my reference? I need my reference. Because the reference has that orangey brown in it. So I'm going to kind of capitalize on that. First, let me see how this is spraying. Lovely. Oh yeah, all right, it's going to work. So what I'm doing is same thing. I'm going to start masking off that, or not masking, but kind of hiding that damage in the texture around it. And it'll give a little bit of more element of that sunset type of orangey feel. Oh, what I could probably do is pull some of that texture down from above too. Yeah, you know what? I should have put the Dirt Track Brown in there from the start. And again, I didn't mention it, but I did the same thing. So the Dirt Track Brown is mixed in with Candy 2.0 and Dirt Track Brown, sorry, is mixed in with 4050 and 4011. No, Steve, stop talking. Dirt Track Brown is mixed with 4050 and 4021. So used to saying 4011. There we go. Yay! That's much more chromy. All right, I'm happy with that. Oh, I don't have comments there. I have to look over here. I know, Brian. I do need a beer, buddy. I'm telling you, sooner or later, I'll hit the big time, and then I'll have like, you know, an assistant and all kinds of stuff. It'll be good. Technological problems will be a thing of the past. All right, since I don't want to screw this up again, I'm going to use these boards as a guide. So I'm going to grab the tick marks from there, and I'm going to make my little makeshift ruler here. That one was right, that one was right, and that one was right. So the bottoms were right. The tops kind of got wonky. Same thing up here, just use the gaps up here. And yeah, I was off by a good, well, the last one was a good 1/8 of an inch, which was not close enough for rock and roll. I like this painting. I'm happy with it. Even though it, you know, shouldn't have happened in the first place, but I'm glad it did. All right, again, I'm going to use the pencil trick because that worked out well. And I'm dealing now with getting close to the skull, so I don't want to screw this up again. So we'll draw them all in, make sure we get them in the right spot. Oh, that's much better. What could go wrong? Oh, one more. This one's going to get tucked under the mat. You won't see this one anyway, but might as well. Yeah. There are new board lines. Rhea, thank you. It'll eventually look great, is what we're saying. Sooner or later. Oh, I don't want to lose that. Did I lose it already? Are you kidding me? I'll figure it out. No problem. I think I lost the skull I just cut out. It's probably here somewhere. Because I need it for the shadow after I do this. Because the shadow is the important part. It'll make it not look like it's a sticker on the wall. So again, I could leave the pencil marks and just go with those, but since I already scratched the other ones, I don't want to run the risk of having the some of the lines look different than other lines for no apparent reason at all. So we'll scratch these ones too. But you can see how well the pencil works on it. So that goes true to just using whatever tool does the job. You know, if you're more comfortable with a pencil and it gives you a better result, then use a pencil. God, please don't let anyone tell you what to use. You know, like, whoa, you should have done this or you should have done that. Well, if you think that, then you should have done it, you know? Crying out loud. So, yeah, whatever works for you. And you know what? It's even more so these days because, you know, as artists or creatives even, we're battling AI garbage. So, hell, we're to the point like people aren't even arguing if you do whatever, you know, use a photograph for reference, or if you, I don't know, do whatever, use a projector or whatever. Now it's like, did a computer design and manufacture the entire piece of artwork? That's what we're dealing with now. And poorly at that. Like I said, I used Photoshop to try to see if I could get just like a chrome skull reference, like of a cow. And I should have printed them out. They were absolutely terrible. They were embarrassing. It was like, are you kidding? It was like a 4-year-old. Like, it should look like this. And, you know, extra horns and whatever. It's just weird. I am going through it today, but it's fun. I love it. All right, so there we go. So we got new board lines. It's going to take me a couple minutes to do the new green stuffs. There we go. And I'll put the drop shadow on this, sign it, and Abby, Abby has her painting finally. Is this going to be too dark? No. Lovely. There's a painting that's still a 543 that's available that is kind of like a sleeper. I think I marked it as a Steve's pick. So it was from my daughter, the suggestion. And the suggestion was peeled paint. I spent so long on that painting, but I love it to pieces. It's literally like just a close-up of a board with like this really heavily peeled paint on it. And it's neat because it's very, you know, it's realistic. So it looks like it's actually paint peeling off, you know, this little forged section of wall. It's fun. Yeah, so that's a sleeper because I spent way too much time on that. There are a few of those, and I do have a section on the website that's Steve's picks. And if it's a Steve's pick, it usually means I spent too much time on it, or it's just a subject that I really love. So I should be better about keeping that up. I don't know how many are on there. All right, let's put another, we need another good knot. So we'll put a knot right here. We'll put a big knot here. It needs a good size knot to balance out. So what do we got coming up this week? I have some stuff going on Wednesday. I'm really hoping to have the open studio ready to go. Forgive me if I don't. I'm really planning on it. So that should be regular. Obviously, if you're a member here, you already know that the time-lapse video is ready to go. So that's good. And that's what we got. So should be in good shape. Now I can see the leftover incorrect barn lines, the board lines. So what I'm doing is I'm specifically putting grain marks over those as well. So that's the kind of the last step in hiding them. It really gets rid of them. You won't be able to see them at all. Where do we want the next knot? Let's put a knot right here. And we'll put a knot right here. That's good. Same thing there, I just ran over. This is one of the bad lines. I just ran over it. Now, the question is could I have left them, and just done the board lines over them? The thing I'd run the risk of there is those lines went all the way through. So if I couldn't get them to blend really well, then I'd have to redo the whole thing anyway. So for me, it's easier to, just say, hey, I'm going to take the loss and, fix it and then redo it, than to take the chance of having to do the repair and then not have the repair take and now have to redo it the right way. So there was really the decision there. I mean, honestly, with all the grain here, I probably could have pulled it off and just left it. But again, that would mean an extra half an hour of work on this if it didn't work. So for the whatever it took, 5 or 6 minutes it took to fix it, it's totally worth it. There's another one right there. So I can kind of add a little grain line to that in a short area, and it just blends it in. You won't even be able to see it. We're almost there. Just drop shadow left. You guys have made it all the way to the end. I appreciate it. It's so funny because you can really see how brown the jet black is, the opaque black from Createx. When it's thinned out like this, it has a real brown, like a tan look to it. All right, so what did I do with my, I know I didn't get, oh, here he is. I got him. This is what I was looking for. I was looking for the little cutout that I did of the skull. All right, so we've learned our lesson. We don't want to put magnets on this. So, but I have opaque black out there, maybe. Put one magnet there. And one magnet out here, because this is opaque black, and I know opaque black won't scar like candies will. So the way to avoid that in the future, well, this becomes interesting because, again, I don't want to clear this because it'll take away from the shine of the Molotow, but the candies need the clear on it. If I had cleared it, with UVLS, then I could have put magnets on it. I wouldn't have done that. But again, because candies are so fragile, before they have the clear on them, that's the rub, literally. What kind of black do I have in here? I think I have opaque, really dark black. Let's see if I can, I just want a really light black here. Like a thin black, just so it's controllable. Light source on this. It's coming pretty much straight down, so we're going to go with that. I'm obviously not going to go near the magnets yet. yeah, we'll give a little bit on the cheekbones to kind of pull it out. And then down near the nose, give him a little bit more. All right, so now I can pull this magnet, grab my little hold down thing, hold the horn down, and finish that up. Same thing on the other side. I didn't mean to do that. Is that going to be a problem? Nope. I got out of that one. I just put the magnet like right back on the candy. Which then, if I had scarred the candy again, you would have heard it. That would have been it. I would have been like, that's it. Too much of what could go wrong in one session. And yes, it does happen. You know, you get to a point where like things keep getting screwed up and you're like, okay, gotta just go take a break, you know? That definitely happens. Here we go. That's our little drop shadow around him. Again, less is more. Less is so much more. It'd be so easy to put that heavy-duty drop shadow on that to make it look like it's under a floodlight, but just enough to kind of pull it off, and now it, you know, it looks the way it should. So there's one more thing I want to do here, and this is neat, and this is goes back to the thing that the soapbox that I had talked about in the open studio with Brian. One of the fundamentals of art is repetition and variation. So I have the repetition already with the boards, and the variation is in the, you know, so you got some variation in all the little grain marks, but I want to give it a little bit more variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of line up on one of these boards, and I'm just going to very lightly spray the edge. Again, this is a huge less is more type of thing. I don't want to go nuts with this. I just want to kind of darken one edge of it. And the same thing, I'll pick maybe this one here. I'm not doing the whole board, I'm just doing like one side of it. And I'm going to have to do the top of this one because I did the bottom. And then not only that side, I'll flip it over and kind of come at one of the other ones like this. Wait, that one? So I don't want to skip boards, I'll skip two. And this one I'll kind of hit more of it, so that the more of the entire board is grayed out a little bit. And again, what this does is this makes it more natural. It gives it more of a, you know, like it's real. You know what I mean? Like the boards aren't exactly flush and one is below another one. Give this one a little bit on this side too, just to give it a little bit of something. And again, guys, less is way more. If you overdo this, it looks like trash, but just enough gives it a little bit of interest. And there you go. So now we're going to sign this bad bear, and we actually have one to send Abby now, and you guys were there through the whole thing. Well, almost the whole thing. You didn't see me spray the Molotow, but I told you how I did it. There you go. Now the other thing too, again, I'm not going to clear this because I'll lose that shiny chrome that's going on there. It'll turn real dull if I clear it. So I'm just going to leave it like this. I mean, it should be framed under glass anyway, so we'll leave it at that. But there you go. So, hello, London Pen. What's up, Sean? Yes, Chris Garcia, this has exactly been the What Could Go Wrong episode. But it's good because you can see stuff go sideways and, you know, things work out all right. So again, I'm going to switch over here and say huge thank you to you all for hanging in there. This was a long one. I love painting with you guys. It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad we got to get this done. I'll show you what this looks like for real. But again, you get all that neat chrominess that's going on in that skull now. But it has stuff going on at every angle. So yeah, so I'll peel the tape and wrap that up and get that going. So thank you again. You know, I got those two paintings that are massively discounted. If you want to grab one of those, that would be amazing. Or if you know someone who would like one of those, please pass that on. Like I said, there's a lot going on in the next 2 months, and anything you guys can do to help out really helps me out, and I love that. Schedule, like I said, I got some stuff going on Wednesday, but I really have the plan of having the open studio Wednesday night, so you can hang out with me while we do Tokyo. And time lapse is the Boss 302, the Mustang, Dan Mayer's painting. Those 3 are going up on the site because we didn't have Kayla here to pick one. We'll do that in just a few minutes as soon as I sign off, and that's what I got. So thank you all for hanging with me. It was great. We got the stuff done even though stuff went sideways. And have a great week. Be safe, and I will catch you guys all next week. Have a great one. Let's do this. There we go. It worked.